Going on today, guys, we're going to get out and look at the 2-week update on some of these yards that have been sprayed with Anuew, as well as a couple of new ones that I've sprayed with some other herbicides and other things to see what happened. So stay tuned. It's going to be earth shaking. Maybe, I don't know. Get out here and look. A little bit different results on different things and even in different yards, if that makes any sense. But there's some POA. It's still got the flower on it, but it's browning up a bit, and some of it looks almost like it's been shot with a herbicide. It's kind of withering up and going away. It's not exactly the result I was expecting. I thought it would just kind of shrink it, but some of it looks like it's been dinged, looks like it's tortured. But anyway, let's see if I can find some more like in the grass to show you. Hang tight. All right, at 2 weeks, some of it looks like it hadn't been touched, and some of it looks like this. It looks like it was shot with a straight up herbicide. It's turning brown, it's withering away. So it's doing something to some of it. I'm seeing varying results on the POA Anuew. Some of it is shrinking up, like, well, you know, withering all up and turning brown like what I just showed you. And a few of them look like that nothing much has really happened to them. To be fair, I mean, this is not a label recommended application for this, so we're kind of feeling around, trying to find what would be the right timing and all that, but the 1 pound per acre rate seems to be where you want to go with it. And I will say that spraying the Anuew on this fescue this time of year has been worth it, if for no other reason than to regulate the growth on it. It's making mowing so much easier, and the grass is looking a good bit better too. And it's been 2 weeks since this application, and I think in another 2 weeks I will go ahead and make another application to try to keep beating up on some of this POA, especially the POA trivialis, and we'll get to that in a second, and to really regulate this growth going into some warmer weather. But let's look at some POA trivialis. Now that's kind of surprising. Here's one of the examples of a POA triv patch again. Some of it doesn't look as hurt as others, but there's something happening to that. Last week it was just kind of laid over, and this week it's laid over and has some significant color loss to it. And we can go across the yard here and see more of them. I mean, it looks like it was shot with a herbicide that killed it. I mean, it's just dinging it anyway. Let's find some over in this other section that were really beat up. Hang tight. You can see these right here. It's not what I expected. I didn't know what I expected, really. I just kind of thought it would shrink away, but it's looking like it was shot with a herbicide. I mean, it's pretty interesting. It's doing something to it. POA trivialis again. All right, to me, it's pretty huge if it'll knock down that POA trivialis and continue to do that for the next week or two, and then see where the next application takes it, and if it comes back next year. Heck, I don't know, but again, it's worth the price of admission just to get the fescue regulated. It made a huge difference mowing here. Usually this time of year I can get, I don't know, 4 or 5 hopper loads with the walker off of this, and moving on up further into the spring it could be 10 or 12, but today it was 1.5. So as far as grass clippings, so that makes a huge difference. And going into the spring, if I can keep this regulated and not be cutting 50% of the grass blade off, you know, per week when I come to mow, because I mean, I can't get out here but once a week to mow this. I'm not going to be mowing it 3 times a week or anything like that, but I think it would make a huge difference in the kind of stress I was putting my fescue plants through in the spring. And you know, when you stress them out like that in the spring, and then all of a sudden, pow, it turns hot, they don't really have time to recover. So if I can keep it from getting that just one more level of stress from mowing so much of it off every week, that would be a big help, and it would be a big bonus too if it gets this Poa trivialis out. So far so good on that. Let's go to Edgefield and check him out and see. He had a pretty significant amount of Poa annua in the fescue there, and let's see what it did to it. Stay tuned. Let's take a road trip. Okay, these guys eating the grass here is not helping much. But hey, all you do, they live here. Here's some Poa in it. 2 weeks after Anuew, there is definite suppression on this. Turf looking pretty good overall. Here's some here. You can see it's almost got a dinged look to it. Poa does. The flower tips are browning out. That's a good sign. Check it out. Other than the geese mowers, I think we'll be in good shape here. We're definitely dinging the Poa annua here a bit. It's good to see the pollen has kicked into full gear here. It's mid-March. I've been blowing horror creatures out of my nose. Well, I'll spare y'all the stories, but woo! Anyway, so let's move on to some more. And I got one that is a brand new customer that I did a couple things to. I put, he was holding a lot of water, so I put aerate on it, and I got some video from a couple of weeks prior when I made that application, and I'll stick that in here, and I'll show the follow-up for when we get over there today and see what happened with that. He was holding a lot of water, so I put some aerate on it to kind of get the water moving through it. Somebody had seeded it for him. He had a fair stand of fescue, pretty good stand of fescue actually, but it needed a little jump start to get growing, and he has a butt ton of weeds. So we'll see how that one works out. All right, let's go get that one. All right, returning to this one 2 weeks later. The Carbon Earth app pretty much lit the grass up, and mowing is bad here, but it's like that aerate has got this water moving through this a little better. It's not as soggy as it was. Let's check the front out. There's still a fair amount of broadleaf weeds in here, some clover, a little henbit. I don't really see as much evidence of the Edgar Allan Poa that he had in here. Still pretty weedy right there. This is 2 weeks after application. I will probably end up trying to spray this yard again. I got to come back here in a few weeks or a week or two, hit it with some fertilizer and other things anyway. So I will probably be looking at trying to get these weeds again. I would have hoped for a little better. I don't know. I guess they're gonna try to do something. We'll keep an eye on it. But the Edgar Allan Poa is nevermore from the Anuew. My broadleaf application's leaving a little to be desired. The aerate worked to get the water moving through it, and the Carbon Earth worked to get the fertilizer, to get the grass growing. Man, I gotta do better saving my old videos. I delete stuff out to make room for other stuff, but I deleted that first application I made on that new place to show you the difference. Oh well. It had a lot of weeds. It was really wet. Grass wasn't very green. That's my summary. All right, I got this one. The Anuew seems to have some of the Poa in check. I mean, I still see some, but it's 2 weeks on this application. And I'm seeing a little more action on my broadleaf application on this one than I did the other one. But I'm probably speaking wrong, because I mean the other one had a lot more in it, and some of it is getting knocked down, but this one just had a few things, and I'm seeing them yellow up. I'll turn it around and show some of them. There's some things like chickweed and henbit getting beat up on. POA still in there, but it's staying kind of tight and wet. Overall looks pretty good. Across the street, I got this one. I did not put the Anuew on this one just to see. And I've got a fair bit of POA right down this curve edge. And some right in the center out there. Green grass then. See, both of them 2 weeks ago when I sprayed them had a mild amount of POA in some minor spots that you didn't really notice that much. But you can see the one that I sprayed with Anuew still had a little bit, but it was kind of unnoticeable. And the one across the street that I didn't spray, we call that the control. there is no way in lawns to have two that are going to do the exact same thing. We're going to call it the control anyway. But anyway, the one across the street along that curb edge was showing some POA Anuew pretty significantly compared to the one across the street that got sprayed with Anuew. We'll see what 3 weeks brings, and we'll see what a second application brings. Here we are, it's mid-March fescue update. Fescue looks pretty good. Carbon X kicking in. Let's look at it from the other way. I can't even think of what I was talking about now. I got distracted. The growth regulator portion of the Anuew. Look at that pollen. The growth regulator portion of the Anuew is helping out here, and we'll put one more app on in probably 2 weeks. So, mid-March fescue update. Mid-March fescue update. Doot, doot, doot. Okay, so there we go. A few fescue yards we tried the Anuew on. After 2 weeks, can I tell you that it's the ultimate POA cure? No. To be fair, the rumor is 2 applications, and you start to see real action at 3 weeks. So we'll see what we see. I'm very impressed with it's doing to the POA trivialis. That's interesting to me. We'll see if that continues and it really follows through and takes it out. But the POA trivialis is not liking that Anuew at all. The POA Anuew, I'm seeing mixed results. Some of them, they just had some mild stuff that really wasn't even flowering yet. It seems to have suppressed that pretty handily. I'm thinking timing might be a key to that. I should have been a little earlier. So I'm thinking if you can get that out before it flowers, that you'll be in pretty good shape with it. I'm just guessing here. I don't know. And then that follow-up application when the weather warms up should really help you with your surge growth on your fescue. All right. That's about all I got on that one. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll check you out next week. Thanks.